Hello everybody. In this video we're going to continue working with your employees app and we're going to talk a little about the polymorphic and how we can actually achieve it. So we know about encapsulation. Encapsulation is how to grab all those methods, properties, function, constructor, everything, and we can make it public, private, protected, virtual, a lot of, well, virtual, we're going to see that in a moment. Um, we saw the inheritance and how we can actually derivate one class to another and how we can actually stop that inheritance through a sealed property, a sealed class. So when we never seal it, that one cannot be derived to another class. So we found two different ways to do it. We actually know about partials, so we can actually separate one class in multiple files and have a better way to consume the data, right? So now we're going to talk about polymorphic. And what it is, how to transform a method, a class, to be reusable across different elements, but with different behavior. That way you can have the same function name across the board, but every function or every method will have a different behavior depending the case that you need to have it. And I know it sounds a little complicated, but let's actually get started. So to show you that. So what I'm going to do, I'm already in my polymorphic folder. So I will go back and I will copy from my inheritance, my employees application. I will copy this one right here. And let me just copy recursively because I'm using my command prompt, right? I go to employees and what I want to do, because this is just my case, I already load this code to GitHub, so you're able to see the inherent one. So what I'm going to do is just remove the Git folder. So it's not being tracked, and we're going to be tracking it again in a new folder. Okay. So now we just open the application, and we have the employee app the same way that we leave it the last time. What is this? Never saw it like this. Don't save. Oh, we need to do code dot. There you go. Sorry. There you go. So we have our core part. We have the employee section, and we type the enumeration here. We have the manager, salesperson, and the part-time salesperson. So we have pretty much everything that we need, and we have the main program with the chuck benefits and everything. So we have the same applications that we had before. So what we're going to do here is going to the employee CSS, and let's go to the give bonus section. What we're going to do here is we have a logic here depending what is the employee type and how the bonus get calculated. Let's specify, sorry, to be a little more straightforward, almost like everybody's salary, pretty much, right? So what I want to do here is I will delete actually all those, and I will create a public void give bonus that will just get the current pay, and current pay doesn't exist, of course doesn't exist, because I minimized this one to be just pay, I believe. There you go. And we're just going to increase it by the amount, right? Pay is a float element, and we're just going to add the amount, and that's it. So the give bonus should be really straightforward. That will allow us, and let me just go to the program CSS. I will just copy a lot of things here. Let me get rid of almost everything, and let's do something like this. So I'm creating Chucky again as a manager. I am assigning a bunch of stuff and 9,000. What can I say? Stock options. Am I creating Fran as a salesperson with 31 sales in there? We're going to give a bonus of 300 to the manager, 200 to this one, and we're just going to display the stats. So let's open my terminal and let's see how this actually behaves. So let's do .NET run. And we can see here what is happening. So we have the manager. It's actually, let's do this one to have the separation. Better to understand it like that, right? So we have 2,000 and 3,000. And whenever we give the bonus of 200, we just add those one to there. And the bonus added to there, right? That means that we're taking the main give bonus that came from the employee. That we're just pretty much adding the amount to the pay. And that's it, right? Now, let's say that we have now a problem, right? The bonus for a manager is different from the bonus for a salesperson. By the beginning, a manager is salaried, right? And they actually have, let's say, stock options. So we can actually give bonus through a stock option. A salesperson is by commission. So the way that it needs to be calculated, that bonus is different, right? So how can we do that without creating new function, new methods with different name, right? So the old way will be, well, we have to give bonus, right? And we can have give bonus manager, and we can have another called give bonus salesperson, but then the consistency is not there, right? We just method by area, and we don't have that. So we want to keep the consistency. Just call it give bonus. At every give bonus, we'll do the calculation the way they're supposed to. So we're keeping the same naming here, and that's what the book is trying to guide us, actually, in how to do that. So for that, we need to override a method that came from our parent class. In order to override it, that means that method should be a virtual method. Now, when we have a virtual method, what it does is how can I say it? It will allow us to be able to override it, but it doesn't have to be overridden by a subclass. Let me show you what it is. So it's going to be really simple. We go to the public void in the employee CSS, right? We have public void give bonus with the amount. And the only things I'm going to add before void is add the virtual element here. The behavior is exactly the same. Let me execute. And nothing changed there. Just to be virtual, we allow us to override it later if we want to do it. We can keep it as it is. But this will allow us to have an override method in our different elements. So let's go to the salesperson. And just where we can do it. Yeah, let's do it after the constructor. And we'll just copy over here. The bonus for the salesperson is in base of his, how can I say it, number of sales, right? And let me save this. So in order to be able, we're going to create a method with the same name, right? We're going to accept the same parameter. It's still a void, so it doesn't return anything. But it have a public override. In order to be able to use the override, that means that the parent one should be virtual. That is really, really important. And here we're telling the computer or the compiler that, you know what, whenever I call the give bonus for a salesperson, this is the one that you're going to execute, not the one that came from your parent. That's it. We are overriding the method by itself. So we just giving the sales bonus is equal 0 by default. And if sales number is between 0 and 100, the bonus is going to be 10. It's over 100 and less than 200 is going to be 15. It's over 200 is going to be 20, right? And the amount is going to multiply by that sales bonus by itself. Pretty much. That's how we're doing. It actually is a really good bonus. But it will allow us, just with that, we can actually execute this program again. And we'll see Fran, we have a different pay now. And that pay changed to 5,000. Chucky, as a manager, is using the key bonus that came in the employee. You can see it right there. If we hover over. And Fran, if we hover over, we are executing the key bonus from salesperson. Right? And this is what we're going to do. We're sending 200. He have 31 sales, as we can see right here. Oh, it's actually not printed here. We have 31 sales. That means he goes to this category. So the sales bonus, and let me just change that back. It's going to be 10, and so we just put it 200. 10 times is 2,000. 2,000 plus the 3,000 that he already had at the beginning. That's why we have a 5,000 over here. So we have the same function, the same method, same name, different logic. So this is polymorphic here. We change this particular method to behave differently in a child element, but it behaves the same across the other ones. In this case, manager doesn't have that one yet. So let's actually execute the manager one. Let's go to manager, CSS, and I have that one. It came from the book too. And let's do like this. And that's going to be really something here. That's a little bit, just a little bit different. And I can tell that over here, right? So what we're saying here, we're taking the base element. The base is going to be the employees, right? The employee class. And we're executing the key bonus from the base class, from the parent itself. That means that we're going to add that amount there. The extra logic that we have here is that we just added more random stock option. That's it. So the stock option is going to be there. So the pay is going to behave very much the same. In the salesperson, we have the same. We are executing the key bonus from our base parent, the base class. In this case, salesperson came from employee. That's why we need to do it like that. So we are able to access that and execute this call. So it's as simple as that, the way to use it, and we just override. We are adding functionality to the class that is already there. So you can notice that every method is free to leverage the default behavior of the base keyboard, right? That way you don't need to completely re-implement the logic behind give bonus, because we're actually using the base logic in there, and we just write something on top of that. Now, let's execute the program again to see that everything is working. And it is. But something that I would like to see now, and the book actually guides us through that, is, well, now I want to see how many stocks Chucky have, and I want to see how many sales Frank have in this moment. So the way to do it is to changing the display status stats to be a virtual too. So we can actually change the behavior on the child's elements. You go to salesperson now. So we change it in employee. So we can actually call it right here. It is going to be override. And we can start adding our logic. So the logic in this case, because just a bunch of write lines, we say, you know what? I want to keep the main one. I want to keep the base dot display stats. I want to still be printing the same thing. But as an extra, I want to print the sales. And I will be doing exactly the same for manager. Our manager, what we will need to do here is override the display stat. We're going to execute the base one, that's going to be name, ID, age, and pay. But we're going to add an extra one for the stock, how many stocks that manager actually had. That way we have another function that change the functionality, another method, and we can actually see that over here. We can see that the manager have now 9,131 stocks when he actually started with 9,000, right? When we give the bonus, we got a random number of new stocks in there. For the salesperson, we didn't change the sales, but we are able to see now how many sales does that particular person have, right? So that's the simple way we can actually polymorph the information in way to we doing it. Now, let's say that we have a virtual element and we want to stop to be able to override it later across the child's element. Let's say, for example, that the part-time salesperson should not be able to change the gift bonus. It should be able to use the same gift bonus as his parent, and we need to stop it. How do we stop that part? Well, the same thing that we can actually do is sealing a class. We can actually seal a method. So if we go here before void, we can actually do seal it after override. If we execute it, nothing changed, everything the same. But that will allow us to go to the part-time, and I said that we want to override that one. We have a compiler error because it cannot be inherited because it's sealed. So it doesn't proceed, it doesn't do the compilation, right? So we can actually seal the class and we can seal a method so it doesn't get propagated or be overridden over time if we need it like that, right? Let me delete that. Let me just refresh this, and I believe I have everything now. Let's say that we have pretty much everything. And last thing that I would like to add is, well, something that the program still allowed us to do, and the example that they gave us is we can actually have employee x equal new employee. And this actually works, right? We don't have a compilation error. We execute it, and everything's running, and everything is there. But now we have an instance of employee. Let's say that employee we want to have as a base class, but it cannot be initialized by anyone. What does that mean? That it's just a base class that can be used for inheritance in another subclasses, but nobody can have the parent class associated directly. What does that mean? Well, we can just add to the employee, to the partial method, I believe, we can actually just add here the abstract. And we can add here to the employee core the abstract too. This will allow us that there cannot be an instance of that method because it's just an abstract, and that is just going to be used when you have another class that extends that base method by itself. This will allow us just to have the base class protected. There is no be any object initialized that, like having that superpower, let's say like that. And we just keep subclasses be able to be executed. In this case, let's say we have another, I don't know, like delivery boys, and we have, I don't know, IT guys, accounting, I don't know, etc., etc. We can actually have classes by department if we want it, and all of those will be derived or it will be came from employees, but nobody can be just an employee by itself. It's a way to protect that too. So I will stop there. I believe I just showed pretty much everything that Polymorphism can actually do. And we can be as creative as we want it, right? So I will publish this code in a new repo so you can actually get it. and you should be able just to grab it if you need it. Other than that, I hope that you like it. Um, any question, any doubt, don't hesitate to reach me. Happy coding, everybody.